Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin, and today we're unboxing the Lenovo Legion Y530. The successor to the Y520, this was announced alongside of the Y7000 and the Y730. There are also 4 desktop rigs. That's the T530, T730, C530, and C730. The T stands for tower and the C stands for cube. Those are pretty much the same thing, except they're in different chassis according to your preference. The Y530 is the entry-level laptop, and it's a Best Buy exclusive. If you want to buy it anywhere else, you're going to be buying the Y7000, which is pretty much the exact same PC, but it comes in a different chassis with a different design. Speaking of the chassis, this year's Legion PCs have an all-new design from last year's, which was frankly dull. Made of ABS plastic, this one weighs in at 5.1 pounds, and it's 25 millimeters thick. With a cleaner look instead of a flashy, instead of the flashy gaming laptops that you'll see elsewhere on the market. It's meant so you can play, but you can also take it to work as well. So you don't have that, as Lenovo put it to me, you don't have a snake on the back, you don't have colorful designs and everything. It's meant to be a cleaner design. Also, most ports have been moved to the rear of the machine, which is obviously far better for cable management. Okay, however, you still get a USB 3.1 Type A port on each side, which you can see over here. Total ports on the machine include 3 USB 3.1 Type A ports, 1 USB 3.0 Type C port, so there's no Thunderbolt here, HDMI 2.0, mini display port 1.4, Ethernet, and a combo 3.5mm audio jack. There's also Lenovo's proprietary charging port, which looks suspiciously like a USB Type A cable, but it is not. The machine comes with a 135-watt power adapter. The good news about HDMI 2.0 and Mini DisplayPort 1.4, though, is that while the built-in display is 1080p, you can get some solid 4K output out of this thing, especially with that dedicated GPU. It is the entry-level model, so that means you get a 4GB NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti GPU. The machine will offer NVIDIA's new 1100 series GPUs when those are available, but those are going to come in higher-end models. So this is pretty much a base model that you're seeing here. Now, that means that when those come out, you're going to be able to get them, but you're not really missing out on anything by buying this now. If you want that 4GB GPU, if this is the one for you, this is not the one that's going to be refreshed. So, since it's the entry-level model, that you can compare this to Dell's G Series, which used to be called Inspiron Gaming, or HP's Pavilion Gaming lineups. This model comes with a Core i5-8300H processor, which has 4 cores, and it's hyper-threaded for 8 threads. Intel's new H-series chips are built on the 14nm Coffee Lake architecture, so if you go for the i7 model, you'll find that it's now hexa-core, where the last generation all the H-series processors were quad-core. The i5 is still quad-core like the Kaby Lake chips. To be clear, these quad-core machines are much more powerful than the new quad-core U-series CPUs that you'll find in Ultrabooks, because those are 15 watts. Another big change to the Legion Y530 is the display. The 15.6-inch screen has bezels that are 62% more narrow than last year's model. So you're pretty much fitting that 15.6-inch display into a 14-inch chassis. It only comes in 1080p though, although there is an option for 144Hz refresh rate with NVIDIA G-Sync. However, that's not included in this model. This is very much, if it's not the base model, it's close to it. You got the i5 regular 1080p display, 8 gigs of RAM, 1050 Ti GPU. Finally, there's a white backlit keyboard. This has 1.7 millimeters of key travel, so it's a little deeper than your average, say, Ultrabook. This goes along with the work and play theme of the device. If you want an RGB keyboard, you're going to have to go for the Y730, which is the next step up. On the software side of things, the control center for the machine is called Lenovo Vantage, whereas previous devices had Nerve Center. Along with being able to download drivers and firmware through it, you can turn on the fans, control hotkeys, monitor your system, and more. For example, pressing Control-Shift-1 will turn on cooling bursts, which jacks up the fans. And you can see that there is some cooling system on this. If you look at the bottom, these are your fans. So what they did is they added fans to the sides and that allowed them to ventilate the system better. It's going to be really interesting when we start seeing the higher end models of this. But previously, Lenovo Legion laptops only had they had the Nerve Center application. They had a different application for updating drivers and firmware, and now what you have is this kind of combined experience. So if you have a ThinkPad or a Yoga or something, you have this app, and it doesn't have all these options that this one has: system tools, input control. Now you can think of gaming PCs in three categories: as casual, mainstream, and performance. The mass market is really in casual, and that's where the Y530 sits. This is a machine that has the power to play if you want to, but you can also throw it in your bag and use it for work when you want to. It doesn't have that sort of flamboyant design that's going to stand out in your office. It also has a really comfortable keyboard that's great for typing, which is not what you'll find in those premium devices. For the mid-tier mainstream category, you'll want to have a look at the Y730. That's really the one where you want to be able to play it, you want to be able to play to win. So think work first, and you want the power to play on this. Think play first, but you want to be able to work on the Y730. And then for the best in performance, which is probably for those that really only use the machine for gaming, you're going to want the Y930, which Lenovo hasn't announced. That should be out later on this year, and if I had to guess, it's going to be after NVIDIA releases the new GTX 1180 GPU. I'm going to be playing around with the Lenovo Legion Y530 for the next few weeks, obviously testing gaming, but I'm also going to test out work-related tasks like video editing and, of course, writing articles, because the keyboard does seem very comfortable. So this might be that all-around great machine that you can kind of do everything on. If you buy it, you're probably going to want the i7 because you do get a lot more power from that hexa-core i7. Also, you're probably going to want 16 gigs of RAM instead of 8 gigs of RAM. But ultimately, this machine looks pretty sweet. It's got Harman Kardon speakers with Dolby Audio. There's no bloatware on here except McAfee, which I will be the first thing I uninstall. And also, of course, the stuff that Microsoft installs, like Candy Crush Soda Saga and stuff like that. I love the new design. One of the things that I mentioned last year was that I really didn't care for the design. It was really dull, and to me, this is a lot cleaner. It's something that I would like to carry around with me. I love the ports on the back. And I also love, of course, that there are ports on the sides that you can use if you need to. So we're going to have a full review in a few weeks. I'm Rich from NeoWin. Have a great night.